Three, two, one, ready? If you stick with me throughout this entire training, I guarantee that you leave with a completely different perspective on what online business means and how to make the most possible money with it. Because I'll be revealing the secret of how I built a $10,000 per month lead generation agency in 60-ish days, and then how I went on to scale that same agency to consistent $50,000 months, and how I did all of this without any special skills or any previous experiences. Here on the left is a screenshot of me at $0 in October 2022. That's when I first started my own lead generation agency, and by December 2022, I had made $10,502.70 in a single month. I did that within 60-ish days, and on the right side is a screenshot of my business where we collected $59,000 in revenue in the month of April this year, and $59,000 as well in the previous month in March. So you learn how I helped one of my students, Kevin, go from $0 to $9,500 in a single month in literally less than 30 days. And if you look at these screenshots, starting with the one on the left, when we started working together, Kevin actually sent me a message basically telling me that he will work hard, and as soon as he scales to $10,000 in a month, he'll shoot me a testimonial video. To the screenshot in the middle where he actually signs his first few clients, making a total of $9,500, and then all the way to us filming a video interview that's actually on my YouTube channel talking about how he was able to scale from $0 to $9,500 in a month. So please pay attention and make an active decision to stay focused for this training. Ready? Let's begin. So in case we haven't met before, my name is Jim Fung. I'm a 24-year-old entrepreneur, and I've made every single dollar I have in online business. My journey started back in 2022, where at the time, I was flipping burgers at McDonald's. At that point, I absolutely hated my job. I remember clocking into my shifts and literally looking at the clock every 10 or so minutes, only to be disappointed that more time didn't pass. Nonetheless, I needed to work at that job because after a series of poor financial decisions, I actually ended up with over $15,000 in credit card debt. And because of this, I made it my goal to break out of this situation and become fully financially independent through online business. So what I did was I started my online business journey with some of the most popular online businesses. I started with dropshipping. I remember I was scrolling on TikTok one day and I actually came across a young guy standing in front of his Lamborghini telling me that I can make thousands of dollars by dropshipping products from China and then going on to sell them for 3 to 5 times the price. I actually tried that for a few months, and long story short, not only did I not make money from dropshipping, but I actually lost a few $100s because I needed to buy different products to test. So safe to say that that was a failure. And here on the left is a picture of one of the products that I actually tried selling. Then I started my own marketing agency. I was studying business in university at the time, so I thought that this would be a good business opportunity. I was selling email marketing, you know, those marketing emails that you might get from Nike or from Gymshark? Yeah, that's what I was selling to e-commerce brands, and I actually signed 2 clients from that. I offered to work for free, so I didn't make any money, but the problem was once I signed them as a client, I just didn't know how to deliver the service that I just sold them because I discovered that I needed to learn all these different skills, how to copyright, how to do graphic design, all of these different things, and I kind of just felt like an imposter selling a service that, quite frankly, I just didn't know how to deliver for. So I figured, wait a minute, if I was able to sign 2 clients for my marketing agency and I used cold emails to reach out to these e-commerce brands, what if I just sold cold emails as a service where I can approach business owners and help them generate sales calls for their business by using cold emails? And it just makes so much sense, because there are literally millions of businesses out there that needs more sales calls but just have no idea where to start. And since I kind of already knew how to generate sales calls from doing it myself at my failed marketing agency, and since I was now selling that as a service, I really only needed to learn and get good at one thing. And that one thing is how to generate sales calls using cold emails. So in October 2022, I started what I now call a lead generation agency. The only thing I focused on was learning how to get good at cold emails, and on December 1st, 2022, I closed my first client for $3,000. And that was the first time making any money that just wasn't from a job. And I remember driving to the gym later that day, calling up my friend and telling him how amazing that felt. because to be honest, I'll probably remember that feeling for the rest of my life. That's how awesome it was. I knew I was onto something big. I put my head down, and by the end of that month in December, I had made $10,502.70. I had done it. I had built a business and made $10,000 in a single month. And I did that within 2 months of starting my lead generation agency. And so the very first thing that I did after making $10,000 was I flew out to New York City on Christmas Day. I was on top of the world for that entire trip. I rented a pretty pricey hotel room overlooking the city, and really for the first time in my life, I had a taste of what having money felt like and not necessarily stressing about finances. Once I got back, I was ready to lock in. I focused on getting better. I started signing bigger clients, charging more money, and as a result, I started making more money as well. I went from 10K months to 10K weeks to even having my first 10K day, and here you can actually see a screenshot of my very first $10,000 day. My business was growing pretty quickly, and within a year of signing my first client, I had started hitting consistent $50,000 months, and you can see here that in January of this year, I made $57,000, and in the previous month, in December 2023, I had made $55,000 inside of my business. And so at 23 years old, I was making more than $50,000 per month, or about as much as a neurosurgeon with 10 plus years of education. And today, I have built a life that I could have only dreamed about 2 years earlier. I can wake up whenever I want, work wherever I want, travel to different countries around the world, and not really stress about money on a day-to-day basis. Essentially, it's just freedom. I mean, you can decide what you want to do with your money. I'm not gonna tell you to buy beautiful watches or travel around the world. Those are just some of the things that I've decided to prioritize for myself. But if you succeed with this, and if you start making a lot of money with this, then you can decide how you want to spend your money. The point here is you have the freedom to do whatever it is that you want. My only job is to give you the freedom to actually be able to make those decisions. It's freedom. Making money is freedom. And at this point, I need to make it clear that it's highly unlikely that you will be able to start this and scale to $50,000 months within a short period of time. I was able to do this simply because I was in the right opportunity vehicle at the right time, pure trial and error, and kind of just failing forward. Remember, I failed 2 businesses before this. All this to say, don't expect to get rich quick. However, it is completely possible to start your own lead generation agency and scale to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days, but only if you play your cards correctly. You won't be able to do this by half-assing your way forward. You need to go all in and bet on yourself that you have what it takes to make it. Just like Spencer, who started his own lead generation agency, signed his first client on May 1st for $3,000, signed his second client about a week later for $4,000, his third client for another $4,000, and was able to make $11,500 within the first 14 days of May. He did this within 60-ish days of starting his own lead generation agency, and actually, while creating this presentation, he just messaged me saying he signed another client for $4,000 and helped one of his existing clients land a sales call with Air Canada. I can't even make this up. But let's not even start thinking about how to help your clients book sales calls with literally billion-dollar companies. Your goal is to get sales calls with cold emails, first for yourself, then for your clients after that. And if you do that, well, what kind of results can you expect? Look, I always like to make the first goal simple. Your first goal is to simply sign your first client for a few $1,000s. And you can do that pretty easily within the first 30 to 60 days. You want to be charging your client somewhere between $1,500 to $3,000 because you're simply not going to get to $10,000 by charging $500. You're just not. And you're able to do this even as a complete beginner without any case studies, simply because every single business needs lead generation. There's just so much demand. For example, like Jordan, who signed his first client for $2,000 after starting his cold email campaign around a week earlier. Or Ajastru, who signed his first client for $2,000, and Ajastru is from India. So once you convert that $2,000 USD, the buying power is pretty significant. Or like Nelson, who signed his first client for $1,500 within the first 45 days. And in the screenshot on the right, he actually mentions that he joined the program on February 1st and never thought that he would close so soon. So that's stage 1, signing your first client. And once you do that, we move to stage 2, which is going from your first client to making your first $10,000 in a month. And remember, since you're charging somewhere between $1,500 to $3,000, you really only need somewhere between 3 to 5 clients to hit $10,000. And after you sign your first client, you will now have full confidence that the process just works. You're essentially repeating the process of what you did to get your first client, and most people are able to sign their next few clients in a matter of weeks, if not days. For example, Tyler, who signed his first client for $2,500 on March 8th, signed his second client 3 days later for $1,500, and signed his third client another 3 days after that for another $2,500, making him $6,500 within a week of signing his first client. Or even Chino, who, by the way, is from the Philippines, and I want you to notice the dates. The first 2 images are messages that he sent into the Slack before we moved into the current Discord community, where on January 26, Chino signed his first client for $2,000, and within 2 months, by March 21st, he had signed his 6th client for $3,000. And so with all of that said, how would I personally go about starting a lead generation agency from scratch today if I were you? Well, I'd start by learning about the lead generation agency business model, the structure, and how it all ties together. Then, I'd start learning about how to write effective cold emails that just prints sales calls. And that's about it. Remember, you don't need to learn a bunch of other things because the real money-making skill is figuring out how to cold email. And since you're using cold emails to land a client for yourself, you're actively learning how to cold email, putting it into practice, and taking action on the skill. So you're not just sitting there learning all the theory, all the hypothetical scenarios. No, you're learning how to cold email by doing it yourself, using it to sign your first client and make your first few $1,000s. And the beauty of it is that the lead generation service kind of just sells itself. Because not only is signing clients extremely easy because of the insanely high demand, but why not learn a valuable service that literally every business needs? Every business needs more customers regardless of the economy, regardless of world events, and regardless of anything else. That's the fastest and easiest way to build an insanely profitable business. Now, what does the workflow process look like with lead generation agency clients? Remember, as a lead generation agency, our value proposition is simple. We help businesses generate sales calls with new customers by using cold emails. And the process of taking a new client from scratch to generating sales calls for them can be divided into something like this. So starting in the first week, you'll be doing things like understanding their business, understanding what they sell, understanding who they sell to. Essentially, you're just getting all the information that you need. Once that's done, you want to set up the cold email infrastructure. Obviously, we're using cold emails, and in order to actually do this, you need to set up the domains, set up the email accounts, and set up the sending tools. And once that's done, we then move to week 3, where you're essentially putting together the entire cold email campaign. All the email scripts, all the sales assets, all the leads lists, and all of those other things. And by week 4, you launch the cold email campaign for your clients, manage the day-to-day aspects, and then generate calls on behalf of your clients. So for example, back in March, one of my clients was a recruitment agency who filled tech and engineering roles. Using this exact workflow, my own agency was able to land them a sales call with Stripe, which is pretty ironic because that is literally the payment processor that I use for my business. Or like Ben, who signed his first client for $3,000 and was able to help them book 7 sales calls within a 2-day period after launching the cold email campaign. My point being is this is a real business, and that's why there's real money and real impact to be made. Now back to the question of how would I personally go about starting a lead generation agency from scratch today? Well, the first thing I would do is I would start by learning the lead generation agency business model, how to build and manage the agency, and I teach that inside the Inbox Lab program. And you might be thinking, oh, you sell a course. No, this isn't a course. This isn't some cookie cutter course that I threw together in 2 weeks. This is a one-to-one consulting program where yes, there is a course aspect to it, which are a series of video modules where I teach you everything you need to know and explain to you how everything works. But where most people find value is the live consulting aspect of things, where together, I help you pick the best niche to sell your lead generation services to. I help you craft an irresistible offer and put together your own cold email campaigns. I help you create your video sales letters and sales assets. I help you review your sales calls and in general, answer any questions that you will have or any problems or uncertainties that you will get stuck on, and we can chat about them together in detail to start and scale your lead generation agency to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days. Because while I'm certain that you can go out on your own and learn everything you need on your own and succeed by doing it that way, the reason why most people find the Inbox Lab program valuable is because they're essentially shortcutting the entire process because now they have the right guidance from someone who has actually done what they wanted to do. For example, we have Brian who was able to make $11,000 in his third month with his own lead generation agency. He then continued signing clients, scaling his business by signing more clients that are now paying him somewhere between $2,500 and $3,000. In Brian's case, he probably could have went about building his own lead generation agency on his own, but he probably wouldn't have been able to make $11,000 in his third month because he'd be busy online Googling and searching for all of the answers to all of his questions. But the reality is he probably wouldn't even know where to start. And as they say, you don't know what you don't know. Or like Christian, who started working with me on February 16, and in less than a month, he was able to sign his first client for $1,500, where he thanked me and the program for all the support. So my point being, you can attempt to learn how to cook like Gordon Ramsay by reading your way through 100 blog posts and grinding through cooking videos made by various people, but the only person that could teach you how to cook like Gordon Ramsay is Gordon Ramsay himself, sharing with you his own processes, failures, wins, and experiences to accelerate your journey. For example, let's take a look at Mark. In the screenshot, you can see that he mentioned that he's building his own lead generation agency for the last 3 months. He tested some things on his own and didn't make any money. He started working with me around 2 weeks ago and ended up signing his first client without any case studies. Now imagine how much time, how much effort, and how much headache that Mark could have saved himself if we just started working together from the start. Imagine how much more money that he would have made in that scenario. So I don't know what your goals are. Perhaps it's $10,000 per month. Perhaps it's the freedom to travel or the ability to buy material things that you want. Or maybe it's just as simple as wanting to be able to support yourself and your family financially. That's up for you to decide. All I know is by building my own lead generation agency, this has become my reality and the reality of countless others who have went through the Inbox Lab program and are now building their own lead generation agencies. So if you want to start your own lead generation agency and scale to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days, then click the button below to set up a time to chat with me or someone from my team to see how this works and how it can help you. And of course, there's a guarantee. If you do everything outlined in the program, take action, implement, and commit to the process, and you do not make back a return on what you invested to work with me, then I will refund you in full because the process just doesn't work. But between you and me, I never had to refund anyone that truly gave it the best shot because the process just works. I started and scaled my lead generation agency to $10,000 in 60-ish days. Others inside Inbox Lab have done so as well, and countless people have signed their first few clients and have made thousands of dollars with their own lead generation agencies. So the process just works. It just does. So just to recap, click the button below the video to set up a call to see how we can help you start and scale your lead generation agency to $10,000 per month in the next 90 days. This is a hands-on consulting program where I essentially work with you together to build out your business. This program truly has everything you need to go from zero to your first client to your first $10,000 per month. Now, with that said, the next step is in your hands. Thanks for watching.